Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Silent Sequester podcast, a place where we're everywhere thing but silent. I'm here with my co-host Geneva, Chanel, Sasha, Dylan, and our very special guest Erica from season 3. How you doing? How you doing, Erica?
I'm good. Very excited. What an episode!
Yes.
Well, I mean, we can just start off with that. How did everyone actually feel about the episode before we even recap this?
I loved it.
Shortest one.
Short. Yeah, short and sweet, I guess.
I like this length. I would keep it at this length.
Yeah, it's a good
Really?
length.
You prefer short over long?
Yes,
because
because
all the good content in it. Yeah.
it felt like everything got to the point. You know.
Yes, I agree. Because it was funny. I was watching it with like some season 3 people, and I like looked at the time and I was like, "You guys, it's only 35 minutes, and we're gonna be at the battle match." I was like, "I'm confused." We were all like super. We were like, "Oh my god!" We were like, "Nah, they're gonna get to final 5, and then we'll see the final 5 of like elimination." And we were like, "Oh no! Oh good, 40 minutes!" Like,
Yeah,
got everything I needed.
Erica, that's exactly what I thought. I was like, "Oh, we're gonna get 2. Got it. Cool." No,
that's why.
But I think this is also what we were not mad, but like irked about last time, where we were like all this info, but then like the end was so predictable. So I think they maybe listened to us.
Yeah, that was the date night one, right? When it was like 90 minutes. Yeah.
Well, you know, I think partially that was because people were voting in that Twitter poll, and they were all like, "Yeah, we want the 90 minutes." So I think that's kind of what ended up happening.
I have no idea. They have no idea because it's like I feel like when you do a longer episode, you're just like fishing for content or whatever. So you're just adding like this filler content to fill in the episode. Where 40 minutes, you're like getting just the action points and then getting that in. So that's why I was like, okay, this is perfect. Just
to fill up a 90-minute episode, it would need to be kind of like Survivor, where they have days where they're at camp, just like fucking around. But it's like here, it's only the strategy, and it's like you're only getting footage for 2 hours at most. So it's like,
the funny part is that those rounds, that round might have only been 15 minutes. You know,
right.
Like last season, like. People were like, "Oh my god, how long was that?" I'm like, the first round was the only round I remember that was 45 minutes. Like, I don't remember any of the round being that long, and I remember that went by like that. But there's 20 people, so it makes sense that there's 45 minutes, even though that's 2 minutes, like not even a minute and a half, 2 minutes a person, basically to like talk in a sense. But I mean, I was like, it helps that there's only 6 people left, and they kind of already knew what they were doing. But it was nice. It got to the point. The battle match was amazing. I loved the twist. I liked the idea of having a challenge during the twist as well as a strategic move, not just like a talking point, like a talking twist in a sense. I've been waiting for that. So I was super excited.
This was a good thing. I haven't really seen this like done before, like that much before, like to make people have to show their loyalty, like and there's so many different ways you go about this. Like, maybe I want you safe because you're not a target, or I want you safe because I want you in the round, the next round. So I agree with Erica. This was a really good twist.
Yeah. Like instead of just talking about what you want or who you want, you have to show it. Like, you have to actually walk the walk now. And that's what I love about it. Like, I was living for it. Like, I was like screaming out like,
Yeah, I like the twist. I think my only critique would just be maybe only having 2 people safe. I just felt like 3 people safe was not many options. And I didn't like that you couldn't pull someone into a battle match from the people who were safe, just because there wasn't much that Jacob, Natalie, or Muna could do in that case, and so it's just kind of an unfortunate situation. So maybe I would have preferred if it was like 1 or 2 people who were safe in advance to automatically to final 5.
I think it could be really interesting where like 2 people are safe from like being eliminated, but then like only 1 person, like Billy, who got it fastest, like actually can't be dragged in.
Yeah, completely safe for the week. Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Because that makes it more high stakes.
Right. Because it's like, well, even like you can be safe from the vote, but you can still get picked. Because I always, something that I've always, like, even for my season and stuff, like with people who have safety and whatnot, I think that if you're able to vote someone out, you need to be able to be picked for a battle. You know, like
exactly.
Like you're hiding. I get that you can be safe in the vote. That's great, but I should be able to pick you. You know, like because why do you get to vote the person out and then not have to battle that person? Like or not like you're hiding behind the safety. And that's something I've always said, even from like my season and watching it all season this season with the safeties. I'm like, no, I'm like they need to be safe. Like during the voting, like because there's just it's a lot. I think it's a lot, especially this late in the game too.
Yes,
that's another thing. There's been a lot of these like safety rounds and like people get safety, but it's like, dude, it's to the end. It's nitty gritty. Like we need to figure out who can do this without a safety. But
exactly.
So good. But I agree. It should have been less people safe or just more people in the round. Like it could have been when there was 10.
Right.
Yeah. 100%.
I wonder if the LOS worked for both, like say battle match and elimination, and then all of a sudden, because of Josh's recklessness, like maybe it on Natalie, would then those three now have to, not be safe and battle Jacob? Like that would be a cool twist. Also, that I would have, would have made it fun at least. Or something.
Oh yeah, what would have happened if? Because if Muna, and see what's crazy is if Billy wouldn't have voted Muna and voted for Jacob would have actually had the majority.
Yes.
So what would have happened if Jacob picked Muna plays the LOS, and then Josh plays the LOS for Nat? What would have happened?
I think it would have gone back to Muna is what it's
that's what I would think.
Someone said, which again, like, is not fair, but here we are.
It should just be like he's out, and that's the end of it.
It would probably be like a wheel. They'd probably bring a wheel out.
It could be a wheel, or it could be a Sari moment.
A what?
A Sari
moment.
Have you seen Survivor?
Yes.
I don't watch Survivor.
That's why. Yeah.
A fan favorite really got like basically every single advantage got used, and then she didn't have any.
Yeah. At final 6.
I think I saw that.
She was out by default. She had no votes, and it was just like it was the biggest piece of horse shit I've ever seen in my life. And that was the last season.
Because I was thinking about that. I'm like, oh my God. Okay. So let's say Muna uses her LOS. Okay. And then, or let's say she didn't. And then or she used it and then Jacob went up and then it okay, no one's there. And I was thinking, are they just everyone goes on the wheel now at this point? Because normally if you can't decide, everyone gets on the wheel.
Yes.
Exactly.
I was hoping for the messiness. I was really hoping.
I'm wondering if they would have altered the twist. So if Muna successfully got the battle pass, I wonder if maybe they would have altered the twist, because if she had the battle pass, let's say she played the LOS and then played the battle pass and then could choose, I think that would have made it complex. So they probably would have had to have a plan B to be able to fix the twist so that two people would still end up either competing, or I guess maybe they would have brought the wheel of misfortune. But
right, I saw I was thinking if she did have the battle pass, she picks someone, and then Josh is like, "Psych."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That was a mess. That's why it shouldn't have been 3. There's no options.
Well, there wasn't enough options, but there was too many with how many safeties there were out there.
Exactly.
There were still 2 LOSs out there. Only 3 people were not safe. So it's you had to use an LOS. So I was actually really glad though that Josh was considering using it on her just to use it. Because at this point, you got to use it. You've learned from Zach last season. He got all the way to the end, and he's like, "I still have an LOS," but it's you didn't do anything to
exactly
to make it worth it, having it, if you really it, you got to make it worth it, having it to the end is okay, cool, but you can't use it at a certain point, so at least make a cool effort at I don't know.
I forgot he was even on
the
yeah, that was I think Zach's problem.
Him and Thomas, they sent in our little production chat, they sent a video of Jayla battling him. I was like, oh, he was on the season. And that's not shade. I just legit forgot about him. I was like,
oh what? We were also talking about iconic LOS plays. So I shared yours from season 3 with Jayla trying to pull you in. So it was funny.
I was so mad.
Oh my God, it was so good.
I was like, I have this for 4 seconds. Can you just let me have it? I was so mad.
No, it was so hard for you anyway. in that whole that cast. Anyway, it's fine.
Real quick before we get to the recap, I do have one question. So like this is your first season watching it since actually playing, and like I've seen you on Twitter, like you're very like, oh, like I relate to being pulled in like a bunch of times and no one like actually like, changing it up. Like how does it feel watching Sequester for the first time since playing?
It's so entertaining because I'm like, oh my gosh, I know what it's like to be there and to like either have like a brain fart and be like, why did I do that? Or like, come on, people see clearly. Like it's not that hard. Like so it's really fun like watching it. And I've obviously like I have to root for the underdogs that keep getting pulled in. Like being one, I never thought I would be I did not know I was gonna be this underdog, like comp beast and like whatever. I obviously wanted to go in there I wanted to do competitions. Like I wanted people, like I came in with like my hair, my nails, like, you know, my California vibe, whatever, hoping people would be like, oh, she's not athletic, or like, you know, and that's exactly what people thought. And I was like, girl, I play flag football with the boys on Sundays. Like on the beach, I play basketball, you know, like I wanted to use that to my advantage and like go into battles, but not like that way where it was like let's scapegoat. We'll just pick her. So it was just it was annoying seeing it again. I'm glad they finally got out of it and Spencer didn't have to like get eliminated in order for that to happen. But it's just like, if it doesn't work in my head, I was like, okay, every round was completely different in my brain. Like I came back and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm pissed off, but like, let's move forward. Like, let's move on. Let's switch it up. Like, and it just wouldn't happen. So I was like, seeing it again, I was like, oh my God. But then they finally switched up and I was like, thank God. Like, thanks, Natalie, for doing the blind side. I love it. That was like the best blind side I've ever seen. So that was
now it's kind of switched over to, it's been Muna and Jacob who have been getting voted in.
Constant, yes.
So it's like, I think Isaiah posted earlier, like it's been only a select few people that have actually been getting voted for in these rounds are targeted. And I don't know. But your season, it was really bad. This season, it's not as bad.
Oh, I mean, yeah. Well, it was really just like, I feel like before jury, obviously, because we had the voting out plus picking two people.
Right.
So it kind of made it different for like getting voted in all the time. Like you obviously can't get voted in twice in the first half of the game, you know? So but then like picking people, like I would say though, it's kind of the same. By the time we got to final 6, everyone had been in a battle match besides Zach, and this is the same with Billy. Billy isn't in a battle. It was the same thing, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. It's very fun watching it, especially because I watch it with season 3. Like we go on a Skype call and we all like talk together, so it's like super fun because we'll all like just pop in and be like, "Hey, like we weren't allowed to do that." Like one time I saw them. What were they doing? Oh, their beds weren't made, and I like, like they were like, beds need to be made. Like you're gonna be filmed in here. We're all like, okay, like make everything. Really? It was fun to be like, oh my God, guys, look, like blah blah blah, or like, oh look, like it's just been it's been really fun.
I need the deposit back for the mansion. I need the deposit.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we could start going into the episode. So we start this episode off like usual, is recapping what happened in the previous episode, and we basically get our very last look into Luxury Row. We're finding out that this is the last time they're going to be able to go there. It's the last round they'll be able to use the LOS, etc. Jacob does not find a battle pass, which honestly was like a big point going into this because nobody really knew what would have happened if he actually went in with a battle pass. Because if he had a battle pass and Muna had an LOS and Josh had an LOS, it could have been chaotic, but he didn't have that. Like what do you guys think would have happened if Jacob had a battle pass like going into this week?
I think he would have told everybody.
Yeah.
So I think like right before that round started, he would have been like, I have the battle pass, so I'm basically making the choice. So make me safe. And whoever I see not making me safe, that's who's going in. Like, I think that's what could have happened. Who knows if he would have done it, but.
Wait, so could he have played it? He can't play for the vote though, right?
No.
No, he would just be able to switch the players after that.
So he would have had to
They probably would have voted.
Yeah, and he would have had to finagle something to basically like get him like not being the vote and then wanting to get pulled in for that reason, to be like, yeah, just battle me. It's fine. Just battle me. Instead of voting for me or some nonsense.
Yeah, but even then it's like, okay, so say it's Muna gets the vote, like she plays the LOS, then it's like Jacob, and then it's like he can't even use a battle pass. Or if it's like Natalie gets voted in, then Josh used his LOS on her. And then it's like it's the next person. It's still it's the same outcome no matter what.
That's why the 3 people is so frustrating. There should have been like a fourth option, because this just made it too complex.
3 didn't make any sense when you know there's all these powers left that haven't been played yet.
And that's why it was a 30-minute episode, y'all.
So basically, we're going to also see the players' own personal thoughts going into this. Natalie's the only one that really wanted Jacob to come back, it seems. Spencer was like, but everyone else is just like, I hope Marcella comes back in. But Jacob comes back in, and Muna isn't having it. Nobody's having it. So that's probably the shortest deliberation we've had of that. Like usually people have some kind of big speech and all that stuff, but it was just straightforward. So we find out what the challenge is, and basically each person has this tube. You just got to fill anyone else's up with sand, and by the end of the time, or whoever has the highest, the 3 people with the highest filled are safe, and the other 3 people are gone. We saw a lot of different strategies, and we can go over them real quick just to go speed through it. But it was basically Jacob wanted Spencer and Natalie to those 3 should just look out for each other. Billy wanted to film Muna and Josh's. Spencer trusts Billy. And then Josh basically wants Muna out the game. So he every time he passes people, he's like, oh, I'll fill yours if you fill mine. Trade.
one for one.
And then he would fill half for some people like that.
Yeah, that was so shady, Josh.
I would have just when they were looking, and then I would have just gone to another.
Yeah. It's like you could see him at one point staring at Natalie.
Yes.
Watching if she was like, oh crap, okay. And she
well, he was every time I say to someone, 1 for 1, I'm getting one person's. I'm like, really, Josh? You really think every person is really going down? It's for the many times as he said it worked enough for him to get safe. So
yeah, he also had Muna and Jacob right against him, so he was more than likely going to be safe for that. Yeah, it was so funny.
It was a good strategy though, because he was safe. So he was basically he was super intense in that one, because he was like, hey, 1 for 1, hey, 1 for 1. He was going to every single person and being like, give it to me, and then staring them down to make sure that they actually put it in there.
He was hilarious. He was so funny to watch, because I was like, just like you, Erica, I was like, one, is people actually doing it? And then he's on the other side with the sand screaming 1 for 1. And I'm like, I don't know. I think if I would have been in there, in the competition, I think I would have been so confused. Who is he yelling at? Was it me? Was it Natalie? Is it Jacob? Who? Okay. And I would have been like, I thought you were talking to Natalie. Sorry. That's why I didn't do it. I would have been lying and be like, oh, I'm so dumb. Sorry.
But you couldn't even use that, because he was saying their actual names. He was
Natalie. Yeah. He was just 1 for 1. And then but you're right. But the thing is, it's when you're playing, in a basketball game or a soccer game, people yell, or you're on a stage. No, you can't hear anybody that's yelling at you, So is that, I was so focused on running and not spilling my sand. I didn't even hear you. Whoa, I'm so sorry. What a weird.
And the smart thing he was doing is that he was putting only half of it in it and purposely letting the other half out. So I thought that was crazy.
And people saw him do it. I would have been like, are you really that bad? Because you could see Natalie specifically was holding it and then, being very meticulous. Whereas Josh was like, "Bleh." And then I think I would have called him out and been like, if you're gonna, please do better or something while we're doing this yelling 1 for 1.
Right. But I guess she also kind of made it clear that she knew that Josh probably saw that she was not really supporting him with it too. So she probably was like, I guess there's no point in calling me out. But I kind of it would have been interesting to see if people would have looked a bit more closely to see if Josh was actually fully doing it. But I think everyone's so immersed with, we need to try to, get ours filled and fill our allies so that we're safe.
Yeah. Exactly.
The other two people who their strategies, it was Muna, and she basically knows that nobody was filling hers up, so she took this opportunity to like look at everyone else's and just gain information, which I thought was a good use of the time. And then you got Natalie, who basically just wanted Josh and Spencer vulnerable, so they feel inclined to work with her. I mean, obviously that didn't work, but I mean, it was a good idea. So that was that challenge. It was pretty straightforward, and basically we saw that Spencer, Billy, and Josh were the people who were safe, and Muna, Jacob, and Natalie were the people up for elimination. At this point, we can just kind of like jump all over the place because this was a crazy thing. But yeah, I thought this was like probably one of the most straightforward rounds. I think that the last challenge that they did with the whole jury, like pitching to the jury, then the jury votes to give someone safety, really like impacted the way that this came out, because I think a lot of people were like, oh, the jury are like favoring like Billy and Muna, like we need those two out of here. And even though Muna's target was big, like that didn't give it any help. So, you know, you see like a lot of people are like, oh, like we don't want the jury to, I stand no chance with the jury with the X person, where I don't think those conversations were really happening before that, but like it really got escalated after that. So, you know, you also see people like Natalie, who was just like, all right, like I kind of want to battle, but like, you know, like it was just very interesting. Like, how did you guys feel about this round?
Oh, so many opinions.
Chaotic. I mean, I think the one thing that stood out to me that was very interesting was Josh's pitch to be like, okay, Natalie, like I will play an LOS on you, or get an LOS played so that you don't go into battle, so I have you for later. But then Natalie was kind of like, I want to prove myself. I don't want to appear as a goat. And so like I would risk going into a battle match and fighting on my own to make it. And so I thought that was interesting. Honestly, I would just take going to final five and then make the LOS 5 and 4.
You say yes. Thank you so much. Yeah. I'm so grateful, but I'll stab you back. I'll stab you in the back next round, and I'll make it.
Also, she proved herself very early in the game. She's competed in a battle match, so I think at this point, like I think it's clear to people that she's tried to take shots at people, and she's been more vocal. So I don't think that she's necessarily perceived as a GOAT per se. I think some people might be like, oh, well, maybe I could beat her potentially, but I feel like everybody who is here at this point kind of has a solid pitch for their own game. So I would say that it's not really clear cut at this point. I think 5 and 4 will probably be a huge determining factor of what happens. But yeah, at that point I was like, Natalie, just take the LOS and make it to final 5 without doing
except for Spencer.
Even on top of that, it would have been really interesting if she takes the LOS, and then because she rightfully so needs, I think, maybe resume building. She could have like taken the LOS allegedly, right? If she needed it. And then cut him, because to me that's even bigger. And obviously this jury, we know they would have ate that up. I mean, Brent's in the chat, he can tell us yes or no if you would have eaten that up. But to me, like that's even bigger, because why? Like, I agree. Like, take everything you're given, and then because I don't know that the like. This is a good social strategy that someone wanted to play an LOS on me is like holds up that much, especially if you're sitting with Josh, because Josh can be like, no, I knew I needed a GOAT, so I had to play it on her. So I feel like basically it nullifies both of that particular.
She could have really played on that one, because she could have been like, okay, let's do this where people vote for me. Or like put the votes on me. He plays his LOS, 1 LOS down. Next vote is probably going to Muna. Muna goes LOS done. So there's 2 LOSs out of the comp at that point, and then all you have left is Jacob or whatever. And then it could just be like all hell breaks loose from there, because you know he's gonna still pick Muna in the end. So it's like she was completely safe in that situation. She could have got rid of not 1 LOS but 2 LOSs. And then she looks really good because it's a good story, because I had such a good social game that someone used LOS on me. So, you know, I'm a well-rounded player. I beat a battle match. Someone used an LOS on me. I'm throwing names. So it was just like another thing to add to her resume.
Yeah.
To
be like, y'all think I'm scared, but actually, like, I got all this fleshed out. Like, that's
I understood what Natalie was saying, but to me, this kind of, and I hate referencing Survivor again, but this kind of was giving me on Edge of Extinction, where they were like, oh, I want to go to fire. And then that guy did put himself to fire, which I guess that was pretty cool. But I remember in Winners at War, they were trying to read Natalie. Funny, her name was Natalie too, but they were trying to read her because they were like, oh, you didn't put yourself to fire. Like, you didn't prove yourself. It's like, she proved herself by winning immunity. Like, you proved yourself by being safe. Like how are you proving yourself by winning a challenge? Like,
you're not. You're
not. You're not doing anything. Like, so take the LOS. Take what's given to you. You know,
especially if it's going to be like dead after this point. Like, might as well.
So another interesting thing that I saw during this was I think we're starting to see like this Josh and Spencer like partnership actually like come to fruition, which is actually very interesting going into next week, because you got Josh and you got Spencer, and then you got Natalie and Jacob. I don't know how like close they are, but like, I mean, they're close enough. And then you got like Billy in that middle ground, but she's also still a threat to like win. And I don't know if you want to take her that far. So it's like, I don't know what the correct move is there, but like Josh and Spencer were making it like abundantly clear that like they're here. Like, I don't know if Josh is necessarily going to take him to the end, but like, yeah, like, I don't know.
Yeah. I'm thinking he's probably trying to set up, at least this is in my head, what might happen is maybe a Jacob vote at 5. And then they would bring Billy to 4 and then vote Billy or something like that. Because they know that Billy has a really strong social game and has not been pulled into a battle match. Although I don't know if Jacob were to go out, or what would happen at that point. But I do think that might be the potential shot. Because at this point, Jacob has won, considerable amount, and he is a huge threat in this game. So I think that he probably would be the huge target there.
I'm wondering, going off of this fan fiction that we're writing, but I love it. Is that like, oh yeah, and then is it that Billy drags Natalie with her? Because I'm still stuck on right. They gave us this little at least a minute, less than minutes worth of content where Billy and Natalie saying like we got to cut each other final six. But I'm very mad, or not mad, but I'm like, nothing happened.
I mean, I think that's partially because of the way the twist was created, is that because they weren't they weren't up for elimination together, there was no way they could really come for each other.
But then why even put that in there? I guess that's my question, because they got professionals saying.
I was like, ooh, I'm like, they're gonna battle. They're gonna be in the battle match. Exactly. I thought they were gonna be the two, because they both. I'm like, we're not gonna put both of that in there, and half of us really, really remember. A lot of us remember.
Yeah. I was so excited for tonight specifically because they were gonna target each other, and then when it didn't happen, I was like, wait, what's happening here? But maybe it was partially just to give set suspense and excitement for 6. But then it got twisted on us, so it wasn't what we thought it was going to be, but still quite interesting.
So another interesting thing was basically everyone was going after Muna. I mean, we knew this was happening eventually. Muna was telling Billy to vote her because Josh and Spencer both try to make a deal with Billy that if she voted Muna with them, then she's not going anywhere next round. And Muna told her to vote her because I guess she was expecting for the votes to get revealed that I voted with you guys, but this is the second time Jacob didn't reveal votes. So I don't know if that plan's completely out the window, but what Muna did was basically she tried to pretend that she had the battle pass on top of an LOS, and she was threatening people, and I actually think it got through some people, but I think the only person who probably wouldn't have bit that paranoia was Jacob, and but mainly Jacob, and unfortunately, Jacob got voted out. But what do you guys feel about her little pitch there?
It was the name of the episode, right?
Yeah, I personally loved it. I honestly wish that she tried to get the votes on somebody else so that she wouldn't have been voted out and eliminated, so then she could have played her LOS there. That's kind of just what I wish that she would have done in that situation. But I think for not doing that, I think it was a solid try. I mean, even Spencer was kind of like, oh, well, I thought your bluff was like legitimate. So that was kind of my thought.
Why? Yeah.
Brent just said in the chat
I know
the vote couldn't be revealed at front, but they said in the episode.
They said in the episode that it was the last time they could do it. Actually,
this was the last.
This was the last
round.
I didn't know that. Yeah, they said in the episode.
Oh, but this is final 6. So were they allowed at 6, or did it end at 7?
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure they said. I remember them saying in the episode, like, this is the last time.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah,
because last time, didn't they? Oh wait, no, Jacob didn't expose the votes last time.
He chose not to.
Yeah, I specifically have it denoted that it said this was the last time exposed votes, but it didn't really matter considering there were limited options.
It would actually make. Yeah, it would actually make sense if this was the last, because all the advantages are done this time, and now they're gonna take out that. So actually, it lines up, but that's really interesting because I actually didn't even catch the vote reveal thing.
Me neither.
But then
why did
they say?
I thought he was just like, me, I'm picking Luna, whatever, whoever voted there. Like I thought he was just like YOLO, like I don't really care.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, I wonder why they said that then. That's weird.
And
that was like something that stuck out to me. Yeah,
I specifically wrote it down, so I don't know.
Make a note of that on screen next time.
Yeah,
I never even know about that. That's interesting. So let's see another talking point basically. And I saw Erica, you were actually talking about this on Twitter as well. The jury, right? The jury were. It seems like they were like talking, whispering to each other, all that. You said that, oh, we couldn't do that my season. Like, how do you feel about that?
I was annoyed. Because I remember, like, so when I saw them doing that, it kind of looked like he was doing like a fake thing, but also like they wouldn't show it I don't know. So like I always remember, so even though Cam and I were at each other's heads the whole time, when we were back, like I left after her, so we were sitting next to each other, and we had heard that I've tweeted about this too, that Jayla was sitting at the pool and was just like not caring. So Cam and I were like fuming behind our masks, and we were like literally trying to like punch each other because we were so mad. We were like whispering in our mouth. We were like, "Are you kidding me?" And we're like, "Is anyone else reacting like we are?" And we were both just like, and they were like, "No talking," and we're like, "Oh my god!"
Oh no, not this.
So we're so mad.
Oh, wow.
Wait, because I feel like seeing the jury talks makes them kind of second guess, like, oh, what did I just say? Or like, oh, just like, what, like, and it might create some stir. So it's like, I wish we could do that.
Yeah, there's been a lot of interaction this season. Like, there's a lot of jury's reactions and stuff, like them laughing, them whatever. And I was like, I'm so surprised. Like, the way that they've been doing like the jury segments has been so interesting, because it's really been screwing some people's games over, because the jury's laughing when this thing happens. So it's first when something happens to Spencer, okay, they don't like Spencer. Okay, the jury does they pick who's going to be safe in this round, and they're reacting and nodding, and like it's just like, or they even that round where they pick someone was just like, why are you your favorite? It shows you're favoriting people. So it's just
thirsty. It's like, just say it. Just say you're thirsty. Just say it. Like, I don't know what you're thirsting over. It's like thirsting over a desert, but
Brent's like,
Brent just wrote.
Look at Brent. Oh, yes, Brent.
There's only 1-2 people on jury, and that's 2.
Okay.
Okay.
Wait, I don't get it.
Like only 1 to 2 people are acting like that, basically.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, I think
he's shading 2 people.
People that were
no, I agree. And I think like for anyone that's like
Say their
played
name, say their name.
I think we know. We saw who. But I mean, this is my problem because if I'd be on jury, I have 0 poker face. So like, I mean, face as in like body language included. So I'd really have to like sit there, like, you know, like with a seatbelt on or something because I'd be wild. And so I understand, but I also don't want to screw my people that I want to win. So I 100% agree.
I think that like with how much visibility there is with jury, even with being out there every round and then also taking part in the last round of like voting the person, it like puts so much like power in the jury. And then even like you said, like it shows reactions, like if they're laughing or if they're like if Muna's talking and they're like agreeing with her, then doesn't that show, it should, I mean, I would hope the players would notice that they're agreeing, like, oh, so they're on Muna's side, so maybe this is a good idea putting her in, or you know, blah, 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 because like you said, like they were voting their favorites. And I even asked Brent this on Twitter because he was like, oh, like you would have cried too because I was like, oh my God, like Natalie was so close to like, I thought she had such a like solid pitch, I thought it was really good. So then I was like, oh, like, why didn't you pick Natalie? Because you said you were close to picking her. And he was like, oh, you know, like you would have, like Billy just got to me, like you would have cried too. And I was like, but you've always told us or at least like preached it, like play strategically, not emotionally. Like we're not playing emotionally. And then that's what happened. And I feel like everyone played with emotionally instead of playing like let's turn the tables here. Like let's be jury and let's turn this power around, or let's turn this like game upside down with the power that we have from the jury side, you know. At least that's, if they're gonna have that much power, I think make it fun. Like if you're not in the game anymore at this point, like wreak havoc, like, you know, like make it
like honestly, because like you said, like you can hear them, like it's not even just the laughing, like they're like, oh, like when they make a move like that. It's like, well, first of all, like you said, you guys got hushed your season. I think that they should have been hushed this time. I think because you guys had like benches during your season too when it was like jury, right?
No, they were like
when you guys would sit on.
We would stand. No, so jury. So the only time that like the people were sitting was when we had the court episode.
Okay.
And that's when like the pre-jury was there, and then as jury we would just be standing there. Like
to eliminate that, I just put everyone in individual seats so they can't like lean into each other and talk and tap and all that stuff. Like
you're all separated.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Erica, when you're on All Stars, here's something funny you should do. If you're on the jury, hopefully you're not, but I think it'd be so funny if y'all picked someone like that had no chance at winning. Like
that's what
like Spencer, and you're just like, oh, ha ha ha, like clapping, cheering for that person, so they think, wait, are they gonna win the game? Like,
right?
That's exactly what I was going to say. Like now, this is an additional layer in the game, like where you're out of the game, but you're not, which is like I think really interesting. So how do we? So now, how as a jury member, right? Do you make sure your favorite gets as far as they can? I think like for this jury, it's also different because it's the first time maybe they had so much power and they maybe weren't getting shushed in the same way. So like to me now moving forward, right? Like it's almost like now not jury management, but opposite, right? Where jury needs to manage the players and they're almost like being the puppeteers. And how do we add that strategic layer, which I think is interesting. And I think if they were to pick like a Spencer, Spencer actually, like it would be so interesting because everyone else would be like, what the heck is going on? We are so off base.
So I did want to clarify something. I know that we were having a back and forth about this, but I actually just went back into the episode around the 28-minute mark, and it said that this is the last round people could expose votes if they choose. So probably not the 3 per se, but people could expose votes. So that's why, so it was an option. Even though, so whether that was an editing mistake or not, that was told to us as viewers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Call Audrey in right now.
Audrey, what's the sitch? What happened?
to expand on what you guys were saying about the whole jury thing, Like, honestly, these jurors need to be very careful because next thing you know, they're going to be next season and you're going to have all these people laughing and clapping and stuff. And the next thing you know, you go to luxury row. Oh, yeah, you can eliminate one jury member's vote. And then someone's going to get their feelings hurt. So you just need to be very careful. That's all I'm saying.
Could you imagine?
So
I would be
I wouldn't put it past them. I would not put it past them.
That'd be fun though. Add
like,
that. Do it.
How many people are like, oh, I want to make jury, and then you cut them? Like, how fun?
Well, you know what? It would have been interesting to do something like that this season, considering everyone was on jury.
Yes, yes, I agree. I agree. The jury would have been really mad, but I thought it was hilarious.
Oh, yeah, they've been pissed.
As viewers, and I think like it would be really fun to like where you go in the jury house and then Sequester bot or Fembot comes in, and they're like, one of you have been canceled, and then and then pan to the jury.
Canceled.
Imagine the tea and the drama we'd get. Like people would probably, I don't know if they'd probably be like, "F this," like I'm leaving this Airbnb. I'm out.
They'd be like, why am I even here?
Yeah, see, Brett,
Brett would not be happy.
Like, imagine if you're like Jay West, you got eliminated for waiting all this time. This is my moment. Oh yeah, you lost your vote.
And give someone an LOS on top of that.
Just been kicking the nuts to him. Like already he flies out for his second chance and he's out first.
Yeah.
On top of that, we taking your jury vote too.
That's what I think. I think that's a good twist. I think it would be hilarious. And since this episode was 30 minutes, that would have given us a good like 5 to 10 minute like some like tea that doesn't really affect it does affect the game, but it's so much fun.
Imagine like a reverse episode, like how last episode the jury's sitting in the mask and the members, the people in the game are like,
yes.
Be like,
just get like everyone else gets the white mask, they just get the black mask. Like you're not even you're sequestered from Sequester.
Just here now.
Oh my god, that would be.
Oh my god, Brent, I need you to record your 10-minute speech. Like what would have happened?
Yeah, we need to know what would have been in that speech.
Imagine the dragging.
Oh my
god.
Put us on production. Do it.
So another thing I wanted to talk about was Josh basically pitching to Natalie that if Natalie gets in, he'll use the LOS on her. And I know we already spoke about the Natalie side of it, but on the Josh side of it, like how do we feel about that? Because I think it's a good it's good strategy. Is it risky? Yeah, but like it's like you weren't going to go in. So it's like, yeah, you could honestly Natalie would feel more attached to at that point, and like going into next round, I think that she would feel more obligated almost. Like it seems like she wants to go to the end with Jacob, but at the same time, like Josh is like dangling like this thing around her, like come with us, So do you think he made any success trying to get Natalie on his side going into next round? Because I'm assuming he's going to try to get Jacob out.
I don't think so.
No, I don't know if he'd actually use it either. I think that shows some cards that he doesn't want to show. You know what I mean? Because it's like, oh yeah, I use it, and then Billy be like, "Why the frig did you just use that?"
Exactly.
What the hell was that?
And
like,
not
are
even
you Jacob. Like, what's going on?
And I don't know if y'all caught it, but you saw Natalie say like, "Muna, use it, use your pass." So I really think she wanted to go in, and she would have either said like, Josh, I really don't want this. I appreciate it. I don't want it used on me or something. So I really think she wanted to go in because she literally said, Muna, just use it.
Right. I don't think she would have wanted to go against Jacob though, because she really does like Jacob, and I feel like she is the closest with Jacob. So I feel like she would did that to be like, use it. And then if she did, she's like, Josh, hey, hi, hey, come. Play a move like that, because I don't think I couldn't imagine her wanting to go against Jacob, only because that's the only person she kind of has left. Like they're not even that close, but like they have each other at least.
Yeah. I'm not even the biggest fan of Jacob, but I hope Jacob doesn't go this upcoming round. Same with Billy. And the reason why is because I think if Jacob goes home this round, or this upcoming round, I think at Final Four they're gonna boot Billy.
Yes, 100%.
Like
yes.
Billy needs to keep Jacob around just because I've noticed that in the minis that a really good strategy is bring along one really big threat to Final Four, and then you can chop them. And then have a goat too. And more than likely this group will respect it. I could see Jacob going this upcoming round, and then Billy going at 4, and then Billy taking Spencer. Like that's what I see happening. So I think Josh's strategy is perfect.
Yeah, we'll see if that fan fiction comes to life.
I
also do wonder.
I don't want it to.
I don't want it to either, because I don't want to see Billy go at 4. The one thing that I guess I was wondering if maybe Josh just really wanted to use the LOS and not let it go to waste, which is maybe also why he came up with that idea. Because maybe he thought he probably would have used it at 6, but since the whole round was a different twist where only 3 people would be up for elimination, he's like, oh well, I'm safe, which is great, so maybe I can use it on somebody else.
Right.
And it's like we've seen like in Big Brother, like Tyler, for example, he gets to the end, oh, I had this power, I didn't have to use it. Like I think that's an example of like Josh getting to the end, oh, I had an LOS, I haven't used it. People are gonna be like, so what, so I think people really just wanted to use this stuff. Yeah, it's like I don't care. Like what? All right, so you got
all about big moves.
Yeah,
not sit on it.
Yeah.
Like, what's the point in having it again? Like I said, like without doing something. Like, why have it if you're not going to do something with it?
Yeah,
exactly.
Right.
But on the other side of the coin, I can understand not wanting to. Goddamn, I'm referencing Survivor, where Sandra voted herself out by giving. She had that idol that could only that was the last round she could use it, and she's like, you know what? Why don't I give it to Denise? And
I know.
Denise took it and voted her out with that idol. She nullified all the votes against her and used her one vote to take out Sandra. So I understand that too. Like sometimes,
but he was already safe, so like that's different. I would never use an LOS on someone if I wasn't safe. Like
exactly. Yeah. This was different, but still.
No, I think he was just. I mean, the whole vibe, right? Like laying on the cabinet, like or a counter. Sorry. Yeah. Like I know I can't get over it. I tweeted at him that too, but
that's my
it was strange. It was.
I didn't like it.
Yeah, but that's where I think he was just in that vibe, like just body language wise. Like I think we saw a very different side of him where he was like, "I'm safe," because I think he can see the end game for himself. Because I talked about this last time where he last round specifically was really trying to be the center of like all the power, and I think he's like again body language, like everything. He was really trying that again this time, but I agree that anyone can win now. Like I can make an argument for everyone. So I need him to be like, hello, get up, like literally move off the thing and like actually go talk to people, because him and Spencer were in that laundry room, at least it seemed like, for the edit the whole time.
Like come to me, come talk to me.
It was giving me Marcelo wearing flip-flops at the battle match.
Not the flip-flops again.
He needs to burn those.
Yeah, no, when I saw him on the counter, it just gave me I don't like that. I've always had an issue with like people who are like overconfident, and like it's great to be confident, yes, but to show it off in a way is just read the room, people, read the room. Like there's 3 other people who are going to be fighting for their life, and you're over here like.
That's what always killed me about Jayla on your season was that Jayla, you would see her sleeping, and I was like, I'm not gonna cap. I might do the same, but not because I would try to be cocky, but because I would just be so tired. But I always thought that was hilarious when she'd do that. I was like, damn, she doesn't give a fuck.
So it's funny because we were talking about that, and I was like, Jayla, like you're so different, because it wasn't like she was doing it out of like sometimes wasn't as a confidence. She was just like it wasn't like how, I don't know, it was so different from how Jayla would do it. I just saw her, I saw her this all the time. Like, I was like, Jayla, in the beginning of the game, like, I try to get out the people who I think are like, just kind of whatever, adds no spice to the food, and then I'm like, but when I get to jury, if I get there, I want to be with the best, but then get rid of the people who I think are like the numbnuts. So, I mean, keep the numbnuts. And so then Jayla was like, you didn't want to battle me. I was like, Jayla, you didn't know the rules of the game. You weren't going to win. That's why.
Oh, that was iconic. Oh my God.
Yeah. And all her friends were like, no, I agree. And she was like, what? I was like, yeah, once you get to the end, yes, you want to be around the best people, but you also want to keep around the people that like people are going to be like, no, like they don't know. Like we were literally saying that some of these rounds, I was like, could you imagine Jayla right now? Like she would be so confused. Like she would have walked out. She would have been like,
she almost did. Oh my God. Yeah, she literally almost screwed herself really bad last season.
She did. I was like, girl, I was like, and then she's all blaming me. She's like, you made me eliminate Thomas. I was like, first of all, you yourself picked him. Like, there was 9 other people.
You could have picked somebody else.
I was like, there were so many people. That I always say, I will never assume anything ever if I get a chance to play again. Or I always tell people, if you get a chance to play, like, do not assume that someone knows the rules, that someone remembers the rules. Please remind them before they make their choice. Because if I would have just been like, Jayla, don't forget, like, this was a possession round. We hung out the entire round, and you told me you wanted me to vote Jess, who was your number 1 ally. So I say, like, don't assume. Like, do not assume. Like, just by the way, I didn't actually vote for you. So then she would be like, because she told me, she's like, I literally just like saw you standing. So I freaked out.
Remember.
That round was amazing.
We love you, Jayla. You bought all of her.
I love her.
Yes.
My mom's always like, wait, so are you guys friends? I'm like, yes, mommy, like we're friends. Mommy, sorry. Yes, I call my mom.
Well, yeah.
But I was like, yeah, because I like went to her house for the premiere and she was like, wait, you guys are friends? And I was like, oh my God, it's been a year. First of all.
I'm dead. So lastly, before we get to the battle match selection, so because we already know that Muna, I mean, she's out, but what we saw was she had a conversation with Natalie, basically telling her how she wants a woman to win, and you know, like she wants, like she's basically just trying to get her to like, if I stay, like you need to work with me. I think now that Muna's going back into the jury, it seems like Muna almost had like a grasp on the jury, regardless if she was there or if she wasn't. And now that she's back in there to talk to these people directly, it's like she has her posse, like, you know, she has Rachel and she has Shireen, and then naturally the other people are going to gravitate towards them. So it's like, do you think that, because there's usually a person that like runs the jury. I think Muna's that person. Does that like help a Jacob? Or hurt a Jacob? Or like, does that help a Natalie who can be perceived as a goat, where she's really playing hard? Like Muna's like, oh, I see her game. She can explain people's games in further depth now, you know? So like, does this hurt like Jacob's chances? Does this hurt or help Spencer's chances? Like, how do you guys think the jury is going to start leaning now?
Can the jury talk to each other that much? That's my first.
I mean, they live in a house together.
I was going to say they're together all the time.
Yeah, they're together.
Okay, we were in jury. Like, I mean, I was only there for like half of a day or something, but we were in the same room. Like, we were all just in the same like rooms and stuff. So like, I could imagine the 2 full days that other people were in there, or 1 day, I guess, whatever. They're all just hanging out. So. It didn't stop us from talking like they would like otherwise, but because we're out already, so we're like talking to each other, like, what did you think? Or like, that's really the only information you get is like, are people going to tell me the truth? And I always wondered, like, are people going to lie when they come into jury? Like, oh, this is what happened, or like, oh my God, and it's like it really didn't happen.
Yeah. And that's exactly like what I want to know. I'm sure after the season's over, but like, yeah, like where was like, who was kind of leading jury? Like, was it like factions, you know, like what was going on? Because and maybe we'll know with how the votes end up happening, but I really want to know, right, like what the jury was thinking and like how, because it's moving so quick and there's so many emotions, right? Like you just got battle match, like you lost a battle match and you're out. So now you're like pissed, but also like you were like, well, now I want this person to win because they beat me. Like, you know, so I really wanted to have all these questions, but I guess like, oh wait, like one more or two.
But I think of, like, with our jury, like we didn't. I was shocked that Hunter won, to be honest. I thought I was going to be the only person that voted for him, like, because I thought everyone.
I was him. Too.
I legit thought that. Like, I was like, for my day 1, I was like, I don't even care what happened, but you on day 1, like, I'm voting for you. Like, you got it here. Like, if it wasn't going to be me, I'm glad it's you. And so I was like, yeah, I'll have my 1 vote, maybe another one, and then I was like, what the heck? So like, all the talking, like. oh, like, how do we want our season to be represented? Or like, who do you think played, like, we're going to have to listen to this. Like, a lot of us were like, we're really going to have to listen to the speeches, like really how they're going to be able to like tell us their game and like really, really like get us that way. Cause no one had really like, I mean, at least if I remember, we weren't like, oh, I'm voting for Hunter, like in front of everybody. Like it wasn't like, who's voting for Hunter and I'm going to be on this side of the room. It wasn't, I don't really remember it being like that. And ours also happened, I think, a lot faster than theirs is happening. So so I was what? I got out, I was 7th. So that was the same day as finale.
Oh, so, yeah. So that's pretty fast.
Yeah. So like, it wasn't, we didn't really have a lot because we were getting ready. We were watching the battle matches and then we would like be doing other stuff. So it was like, we would be going back into the round to like listen. So we didn't have a lot of time to like be a whole group and like sit down. Like, I think that was like misconstrued. It was like, thought that we all just like sat together and chose a winner. And I was like, no, that's.
Yeah, their season was.
Yeah, Brent just said yours happened a lot faster. Erica, we had a lot more time to talk. Yeah, like
yeah. So that's why I'm wondering, does that affect what ends up happening? Like I can see then, you know, them like really, if Spencer goes in and folks think like he's a GOAT, but like, you know, now because I also wanted to call out for Spencer, like him hugging Billy, like that was such a great moment for him, where he was really able to be like, it's okay, calm down. Like, whereas I feel like it's always opposite, where everyone else is kind of no, but for real, Dylan, because everyone else is like, you know, like usually doing that for him, and I get really annoyed because I was like, why are people constantly having to do this for him? So like, I just appreciate that, but I just wonder if like Billy's very good at remembering stuff, so I'm wondering now if like allegedly again, if like I don't know, Spencer and whoever, Natalie in the final 2, I can see, not just because of competitions, but like now I'm wondering if Billy's talking to the jury and being like, no, he actually changed, he listened to me, you know, and Muna saying like, oh, blah blah blah, you know, whatever. Like I'm wondering if like this conversation changes stuff. So I'm just really excited. I'm sure eventually it'll come out, like the tea.
I forgot who said it when we were talking earlier, but someone was like, that was like one of the most awkward hugs they ever saw.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was so weak.
I forget who said that.
But you know, he tried.
Yeah.
It's a change.
I'm learning empathy, and I'm
I'm glad that like, you know, Spencer's taken a step back and is starting to connect with people in the game. I think that's very important, especially because of the perception people have had of him in the very early parts of the game. So I think it's great that he's taking the opportunity to do this now. I don't know how that would affect him at final 2, honestly, if he were there, but it could have been a little too late. But I guess we'll see what happens.
I think it honestly depends on who he would sit next to if he did get there. Because, like, honestly, ever since date night, like, I think no one's really like had an issue with him. Where ever since date night, everyone's had an issue with Jacob. So, I mean, first of all, if he did find a pathway to get there with Jacob, and there's a lot of people who are probably bitter towards Jacob, I don't know. I don't know.
No. I think Spencer I feel like there would be a lot of bitterness towards Jacob, but I don't think that would affect the vote because I feel like Jacob has done more strategically in the game. So I just feel like it would kind of, and I think it, you know, got to a point where Jacob and Spencer were kind of both doing it. So, you know,
I just think back like at the first episode, right? Where they were like having that little conversation, and then Muna, or no, it was Jacob. He's like, I never got to thank you for that moment where, like, you know, like you voted for me in the jury and yada 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 because you know. And I'm like, is that like foreshadow for like the end? Like, I'm like, is there going to be another situation where he's like begging, he needs this vote, and then she's like,
I guess the reason I think about it is because, you know, Muna in this episode had a conversation with Jacob. She's like, you know, I do respect this game, so I wouldn't pull you into a battle match and that stuff. But, you know, so I feel like, you know, his apology, you know, the last time around, I think that she is. Like, of course, she's still affected by what happened, but I feel like she's warming up to it. So I feel like I feel like I feel like at this point there's still a possibility that people will get over what happened with Jacob. I think there probably might be there might be some jury questioning about it.
Mhm.
And I think people will give him a hard time. But I feel like he's at the end of the Spencer. Like, I mean, like the thing is, Jacob has won, more than one battle match. So I feel like if you're comparing him, if that's the case, then it's like, okay, what does Spencer really have over Jacob? I feel like Jacob has a stronger game.
They both have won 3, but agreed 100% that I think Jacob has the stronger game. And I think Muna, right, like called it out a long time ago. He's won 2 already, like 2 Sequester minis. So like, how did you, like, to me, the biggest jury question would be, why'd you let him get so far? Like, and I think even me as a jury member, if Jacob gets that far after like all this, like burning so many bridges, like just, Loudon, I think he wins.
It's like, I think to go through, like, he had so many, like, the beginning he had the strong relationship with Marcelo, and then Muna thought he had, like, they were ones and twos, but he was so like, no, I'm Marcelo. And then like he had all that, and then all of a sudden Marcelo and him had a blow up after him and Muna did, but then like they got back together in a sense, and then they didn't. But then it's like, that's the name of the game, like they said, like, you have to remember, like, to play, it's a game, and like you have to do what you have to do to get to the end. And if like people are gonna like let you do it, then keep doing. Like, I don't know, I was talking to Mary Payton, and she was saying that like Jacob has changed his strategy a lot, like from his first mini to his second mini, to how he plays the game in real life. So like that's been really interesting. Like, I didn't watch him in the minis, but like it's been interesting to see the gameplay change. Like he's learned from how he's played the other ones. And like, yes, it's been really messy in a sense, but he's still, I feel like, had those relationships in the beginning a little bit. And then he kind of started getting cutthroat. And I think people were just like they weren't expecting him to be cutthroat.
Right.
Like, that's the thing. Like, if you can't be cutthroat and like do something, say a name, you're going to be out next, Like, I don't know. Especially how fast it is. Again, like, it's so fast. You have to.
He's great at adjusting.
It's great and all to be best buddies, and like, I'm just here to make friends. But at the end of the day, you all signed up for a game for $2,500, and play to win or don't play at all. That's just the way I see it.
I agree.
Like, I think that like a lot of the times, I think because the mini mentality, when everyone played in a mini, that they're all like, well, we played in a mini together, or like, you owe me from this. And it's like, why? Like, this is a completely different game. So people are like upset when someone like turns on them because they've had that prior relationship. So like, I think people are like not as like, oh my God, someone just cut me. Like, I'm so shocked because like I've known them for a year or 6 months or whatever. So I think that's what makes it like people have been very emotional, I think, with their picking and like their reactions, because they feel like they're like, wait, what? Like, you can't be cutthroat. Like, we're friends. We're friends outside of it. I literally I was like, are Marcelo and Jacob still friends? Like, after last week's episode?
I don't know. I really don't know. After seeing that interview, I'm just like, I don't know.
Like to find out in a week. Maybe I'll ask them. But like, that's the thing. It becomes very complex, especially now that there are so many games out there with community members in them, and then there's certain relationships you have with certain people in some games and certain others, and you're on all these Zoom calls, and there's just so many added layers of difficulty that come into it. So that's why I feel like there's so much emotion in this. And like with, season 3 and I guess previous seasons, like maybe there might be people who know people through like, I guess the general org community, but you're less likely to know somebody. So I think that was the thing about this season. Definitely. It's like, there are connections because people played in minis, or watched people play in minis. So it's like, of that person, even if you didn't play with them.
Right.
I personally don't enjoy watching people that are friends with. And Chanel, your season, I really thought of my game. I felt like the reason why Josh, who was a really good player, like he's a very smart guy. He should apply for this show. But he and LaTanya as well, they had the burden of having like 2 or 3 people that they were very tight with. They were tight with Janae and Ganny and like JT. So they couldn't like strategize, and they couldn't do things because they didn't want to lose those friendships. And it's like, it's kind of shitty. And I think Geneva was talking about this earlier, that when she enters a game, she kind of has this penalty because she has these people that she's like, fuck, I have to make a move against these people. They're going to hate me afterwards. It's like, that's not what the games are about. At the end of the day, the idea is it's a social experiment to take people that are like from all different walks of life. But this is like an added element to it. It's kind of like blood versus water, but kind of not. It's like acquaintances.
Yeah.
Yeah, we know what you mean. Yeah, that makes sense.
So yeah, let's just hop into the battle match. I mean, it was pretty straightforward. So Muna has the majority of the votes. Actually, I took screenshots. So Muna got votes from Spencer, Jacob, and Billy, while Jacob got votes from Natalie and Josh. And basically Muna successfully played an LOS. She had a little celebration where she's running and all that. And basically she threatens Jacob and Natalie that she has another power up her sleeve, like she did earlier, the battle pass. And basically, if you drag her, she's using it, and one of them are going to go in regardless. And Jacob is basically like, well, if we're going to go regardless, I might as well flush it. So, and he brings her up, but like they have like this little back and forth where originally she's like, the jury doesn't want to see scare moves, and taking me as a scare move. I think there's it's truth, and then there's not truth in that, because I think yes, that's the predictable move. Like no one, just like Spencer was saying, nobody wants to see the predictable person. I think Erica felt the same thing. No one wants to see that person just constantly just get dragged in round and round and round, right? But it's also like Muna is, just because of like the last challenge and like you see the jury interaction, she's so obviously just like the jury favorite, and like if she somehow made to the end, she would have won. So it's like, I get it. There's truth on both sides there,
and it's also final 6 or even 7, right? Like there isn't like again, yeah, and we've talked about this already, where at this point anyone can win this game, and Muna obviously has the highest chance of doing that. So I 100% agree. Like I think 100. Do I want her out? No, but like it makes sense why she got taken out, or is getting, at least pulled in, let's say, if not taken out, because the jury is literally over there, like, like clapping, laughing, interacting with her without literally interacting with her. And like, why would you want this person with you? Like, except Billy, which I understand, because Billy also has a pretty strong game, but I could see higher chance, I feel, of Muna beating Billy than Billy beating Muna, which is why I'm like, wake up. No, like, so I understand. I'm not happy about it, but like, it makes sense, unfortunately.
I don't think it was weak at all, actually.
I don't understand why she feels like it's a cowardly move to pick her. I didn't really, considering there's two choices, you and Natalie, I don't understand how picking you, who's been first of all, has been eliminated, came back from the jury, had an LOS, have been safe on your, like, per being back from from jury, whatever. How is it a cowardly move picking you? Like, you have, like you said, you have that relationship with jury. You've been with them in there. Like, and that's why I think that like they ended up giving, like, they knew Muna had an LOS, so like duh. So then, okay, let's give it to Billy, because Billy's obviously her nominations weren't going to be Muna. So like, okay, so then, like, I don't understand how it could be cowardly picking her when she has so much social capital with the people in jury while she has safety, So it's like, I thought it's like, it would be the best move to take her. So like, why take Natalie at that point? Like,
yeah.
So to be fair, I don't think she really meant or believed that. I just think that she was trying to save herself.
Yeah,
so,
for sure.
Maybe it was more of like a predictable, like typical type choice, and that's maybe more what she meant. Yeah. Which, like, I feel like, okay, like Muna is just being targeted by everyone. It's very easy to just be like, okay, let's drag in Muna. So maybe that was more what it was, rather than how it came out verbally, because I don't think maybe she meant that.
She should have switched her approach. The way that I would have been talking to him would have been like, Jacob, look, you and I have been the ones that have been getting voted out these past couple rounds. We've been the targets. If you battle me this round and I go home, next round you could be the target. If I'm here next round,
I'm the target.
I'll be the target. And honestly, if I was her, I would have made a Final Four deal because they need each other at that Final Four. I was saying earlier about Billy and Jacob. Like if you're a big threat, you need at least one other big threat in that Final Four, or else you're going to be that target at 4 and you're going to get cut.
Right.
Like period.
Yeah.
And I think it was the right move to take Moona out just because Billy is still there, and I think Billy is probably the only one that's above Jacob in my eyes, at least. So he should make that deal with her, I think, and go to Final Four with her.
Yeah.
I think that too, like at this point, having like the strong duo and Billy and Moona was like so dangerous. Like, why did they let the two of them stick around for so long? Like,
I know.
they had such an apparent strong relationship that it was like, what? That's what I was confused about. Yeah.
To add on to that, like I think that as viewers, like we're seeing these other duos, like we see the Natalies and the Jacobs there, but like it seems like for the people actually there, like they actually like they were really hiding this, like until Marcelo exposed it. Like I don't think anyone thought Natalie was working with Jacob. I don't think you even saw Brent. He was like, I did not know that they were working together, and Moona was like, oh, she pulled one over me. Like I don't think a lot of these people really knew who was working with who. You know, Billy's just now noticing like, oh, Josh and Spencer are getting close. Like she just realized that this episode, you know. So, you know, as viewers, like we in the house, I think Billy and Moona were just like the big obvious like pair because they like they literally like they ride for each other, and that's fine. But now it's at a point that now that you've eliminated that, now people are going to see the other two duos, and now they need to start like coming after each other. So, you know, it's interesting.
Yeah.
And that's what I hope happens. Oh no, sorry. And that's what I hope happens is that like Billy isn't the next, because the two duos might get together, and then does that then screw Billy again. So I'm just I'm really stressed for Billy.
Yeah. I don't think I'd say that around,
Josh and Billy are pretty close though, aren't they?
Doesn't seem like now.
Well, I think at this point he's just like
he said he wants Natalie final too.
They're close, but I think Josh is there to win, and he will do what he needs to do to win.
I don't think they're going to go after Billy at 5 though. I think they're going to
4
for 4, and then or they'll boo her. I think they're going to do Jacob this round.
Josh is going to want Jacob.
Unless Billy and Jacob can get together and be like, we need each other. And then they get like dropped out, or Spencer. I mean,
they want to take us out so they win.
And that's what that's what they need to do. If they don't do that, then it's just y'all are going to cut. And honestly, I wouldn't, as much as I don't want to see it, I wouldn't blame Spencer, Josh, and Natalie if they were like, listen, we're not going to be either of those two. Let's just stick together. Let's throw one of them in this battle match, and then hopefully we'll beat them. And then if 4, just cut one of them, and then that's it. And if I was Josh and Natalie, I'd be high-fiving behind the couch because I'd be like, he's gonna drag Spencer at 3.
Right,
so.
exactly.
So,
not the whites are us, please.
No, exactly. That's why I'm not.
I understand. That is also what I think should happen, but I'm just like, of course this happens.
No, exactly. After we talk about how about diversity, of course it ends up being an all-white final 3. But I mean, look what Big Brother 22 brought in. So I mean, it's not that much.
This is still better than that. At least with Josh, I think it's. We've seen him really wanting to work. That's why I don't even blame Josh with how much we've talked with other folks. But I really think that with Josh, he really tried to work with everyone until he didn't need them, which I think is exactly how you should be as a player. That's why I don't want to drag Josh in any way. But I'm just really, this is of course this happened.
I don't blame Josh in this.
Exactly.
But I mean, it speaks to Billy and Jacob because they're the biggest
threats in this game.
Yeah.
I wonder if they'll realize oh, Billy hasn't been in a battle match. We're just gonna put her in there because you know what? Prove yourself.
I think that might very, very well be a possibility for the next.
I would be thinking that.
Are we going to see Natalie be in trouble and then she drags Billy and then they battle? Is that going to be Natalie's big move to be like, all right, Jerry, she can pitch her under the radar game. She could be also I took out Katie and Billy, and what,
Maybe that's why they showed us the final 6, because even though it didn't happen at final 6, it might happen at final 5.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah, that could be true.
If Natalie did that, I love Billy, and Billy's my winner pick right now, but I wouldn't be too angry at her because
that makes sense.
That would actually be a badass move because I think Billy has played the best game out of everybody. She's number 1.
100%.
Even above Muna, I would put Billy at number 1.
Yeah.
Just consistently played amazingly. She's never even been on the when she didn't
all
have
those secret votes that she can have claim to. Like she put Natalie, like that. Just I don't know. It's just like crazy that she's had these twists
She
that
hasn't been playing bad at all. Like
and they know, and they don't even know yet.
Crazy.
Exactly.
Yeah, they don't even know this.
Like she's a very slow paced player. She's behind the scenes, but it's working. Literally everybody gave her like every piece of information. Like she's the only one who knew Josh had an LOS. She knew where the battle pass was. She knew where Muna had an LOS because of Jacob. Like she literally has gathered probably the most information out of everyone here, and it's really crazy to see. But like her game is so under the radar that people don't see it. And I think she pitched it to Brent, but like I think people want her to, I mean not Brent, like the jury, but like I think the jury just wants to see her do like one more big thing publicly, like give that push, and they're gonna be like, all right, like we respect you as a player, So
she just needs to get those
realistically, she voted for Muna this round, so people are going to be like,
"Oh, Muna."
See, that's the issue. Is like it just no one gets to see it. Like she does all this stuff, and no one gets to see what she's doing, and it sucks,
And if she's with someone that can articulate their game really well, that's another piece I'm afraid of. That if she's with again a Spencer, or I don't know. Because Spencer and Natalie weren't so good with the jury when they were like explaining why they wanted or who they wanted out. But I think like if Billy needs to like spend a lot of time coming up with her final 2 speech, which I'm sure they all are. But I think if she forgets anything, she'll really get screwed because they haven't seen anything.
Right.
You have to be able to like speak about it, and that's the hardest part.
Yeah, and sometimes that's also challenging because it's like, okay, you can say something to a jury, but will they generally believe what you have to say? Because, if they're not visibly seeing it and you get to the end, they could be like, well, maybe that's not actually true. You might just be saying things. So I hope something happens at 5 or even especially with 4. And like, I don't know whether it's like arguing to get someone else pushing the target off her, whatever it can be. But like, I think it's great. Like, the whole detective twist that like done flawlessly. Like, those sorts of things. I feel like just bringing up those things and those moves, like then people will be like, well, we didn't know, but now we know. That's amazing. You did that. So
I think
so
that if she uses, if she absolutely has to use Mafia as like a good thing. But I think if she goes in being like, I was loyal, I don't think they're going to, I don't know. I personally would appreciate, she's going to do it because she does it every time that like she is in a predicament. She uses her loyalty. And I've said this a lot, but like, she's my winner pick too. But like, I say this a lot.
I hope she doesn't. And I have faith that she won't, because one thing about Billy that I've really enjoyed is that you see her persona, which I think is the real her, when she's in the game. But then when she goes to the diary room, she's like, oh, I know what's going on. I know what the shit she did this episode where she was like, oh yeah, Muna's a threat to win, but so am I. And I can get she can. You guys should worry. I don't got to worry about that. So I want her to, I think that she will. I'm hoping that if she does get to those chairs, she brings that Billy to that jury.
Yes, exactly.
I think they'll give it to her regardless, just with the people that are left. But I hope that I hope she can do that.
And Brent even said last episode, like I was getting so emotional that like I voted for, like that's why I gave Billy. So I think there is a lot of swaying power. I don't want to like discount that. It's just it so depends on now it almost needs to be like militant what happens next. And I agree that she needs to articulate herself really well, because I think loyalty is nice, but I don't think it cashes a check.
No, it doesn't. Well, and the thing is, I considered like when she, you know, like being in the game, when she was like throwing her votes and stuff, like that's not loyalty to me. Like in my head, I'm like, I want you to vote with my group. If you're loyal to your group, you're going to vote with us. You're not going to throw the vote because you don't want to go into battle. You're going to vote with your group because that's who we're getting out. So like, to me, I was like, that's not loyalty to me. That's just not wanting to go in a battle match, which I understand no one wants to go in a battle match. But when at this point, when it's a 50-50 chance, if you go in, it's not like in the past seasons where it was like a voted out and you have no chance. Like, I think you have to be, your loyalty proves with how you vote and not how you protect yourself, you know? So that's like, I struggled with that for a little bit when she would be like, I'm just going to vote here and I'm just going to vote there. Cause that's just pointless, like throwing votes. Like,
I know that she's explained it kind of to be like, well, you know, if it came down to between voting my ally and voting someone else, I'm not going to vote my ally, so I'm going to throw my vote. So in that sense, like, and I guess that also does show like she was playing a really good social game where it's like she had all these allies, but you know, it is kind of challenging to be like, how do we know that like we have you as an ally in the game if you're not voting like against someone who's like a serious target to keep me in the game?
I agree with you. And if I was in the game, I actually would not trust someone that does that, and I would target. Because in my eyes, it's giving me I voted for Jill Stein in the 2016 election. You know, it's like it's like, oh, I don't support Trump. Okay, but you didn't vote for Hillary, so you're a problem. You know. So.
But again, I will say, like, she kind of talked about it, right, in her pitch to jury, and like they voted for her to get safety. Yeah. So to me, it's almost like that whoever spoke, like, it's almost part one is done where they almost pitched to the jury. So one, I doubt the jury wants to hear that again. Or if you repackage it, maybe they'll hear it again. But to me, jury's gonna be like, great, I already heard that, right? Like, even if it's subconscious, right? Where they're like, yeah, Billy's great. I think I want her to win, but how do we almost like have new material for the jury? Because they almost did a mini pitch before.
That's true. That's a good point.
All right. So that's the episode. I mean, like I said, we don't need to go into specifics, but battle match, Jacob versus Muna. Jacob spells manifest. She doesn't. Bam. There you go.
I liked that battle match. It was cool. I liked it.
Yeah, it was a really
I liked it too.
I loved the intensity of all of the battle matches. Like it really can go any way. Like that's what I loved about these ones. And I like tweeted at Jacob, like, you did that, Jake. Good job.
Yes.
I was laughing though when Muna was like, you know, last round was about like our sponsor. Maybe it's medical stuff. I was like, no. And I was like, oh my God.
I know. I felt so bad for her. I was like, oh, you're overthinking it. You know, like as a woman, like for me, I was like, yeah, we always do this stupid stuff, and here we are overthinking it again. Right. Not trying to generalize, but like I feel like this is a thing that we do all the time. And Jacob was so basic where he's like, well, I like don't know it so well, so I'm gonna try to go with, you know, least common denominator and just kind of like go from there. And I would say like I was really annoyed by like the edit where it was so obvious Muna was going home.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah,
like going into next season, they definitely need to change it because it always starts with the person who's losing starting saying how great they're doing, how they're just killing it, and then they lost. Like, whoops. And I can even go to far. And I'm sorry to keep cutting you off. I can even go too far to say at the beginning of the episode, like the last two, Jacob has had like such a sour mood because it went bad. He just seems so energetic. So I'm like, oh, something good for Jacob this time. So yeah. But,
and not even that. It's almost rightfully so. They gave her the moment of, you know, speaking about being a hijabi Black woman, which is like beautiful and important. But also like when you put that in even before the battle match is over, I can't like, and maybe I'm thinking too much into the edit, but like it's, you know, it was so obvious that like they're giving her that moment, and Jacob didn't get like a similar kind of, I'm, you know, like the 2-time winner and, you know, all of his stuff. So it was just really obvious for me because
like the moment, honestly, when they had the montage, the Final Six montage, I was like, oh, someone who's a fan favorite's going, because I knew it. I'm like, they only did that at Final Four for us at least. And like you would only put that in the finale, right? For the people that are left. why would you have
sometimes have to go at
I knew it was going to be either like I like in my soul was like it's going to be Muna, like I just because of the way that it was edited. But I did think like during the battle match, I was still like ooh. Like other times, I'm like, oh, I already know it's gonna be that person, but I was kind of like, oh, maybe it really is, but maybe she really does like bring it out, and it was close, but yeah, like no, I noticed it from the edit in the beginning where I was like, oh, look at this little cute montage going on. Like,
yeah, that's true too.
Yeah, that's my favorite quote to say. Legends go at 6.
I was just about to say, yeah.
Also at 7.
7, yes.
I would say so.
That's
yeah, no, I think.
Real quick before we go into the tier list, so Brian actually asked a good question. Will the trend of someone getting voted out winning a battle match ever end? I mean, if it does, there's only one round left to do it. So I mean, we'll see.
True.
But no one has successfully been voted out at all this season. So it's very bizarre.
How crazy is that?
I will say,
I mean,
like
Brent was.
that
Oh my God.
they were both voted out. But I will say though, like, yes, I understand that people are like upset that like the people who are voted out aren't like losing. But this game, on top of having a social capital, it's also a game of winning a battle match too. Because in this point, your game is like you don't have just the voting out. Like, yes, you could not get voted out, but you're still going to get voted for a battle match. And you can pick anybody at this point. In mine, in season 2 and season 3, and I'm not exactly sure how it worked in season 1, I think it was the same. You could only pick someone that voted for you. So like now when everyone can do it, it's like, yes, battle matches are going to be a huge part to this. So it's like, it's not the same, I think, as past seasons of it. Like, battle matches aren't going to be that crazy, but like in this case, I think it's so important. So I think if you can be liked enough to not be voted, but then that person doesn't like you, then that's your social game didn't work in that like area too. So I don't know. I think people are like, I get it. Obviously, it's crazy that like, how are these people not leaving? I get it, like no one likes them or wants them to be here, but it's a battle match too. So,
no, I agree. And I think it's a nice statistic for this season where we're really into it, but I don't really want to keep seeing it. So like, hopefully there's, I don't know how, but if it's like the competition, if it's production, whatever, but like, it's nice for now, but I don't want it again.
Yeah. Or it's like a mix where
crazy
you know it's happening, or you don't know. It's like, for instance, like, oh, this is going to be like a vote round, or this will be a battle match round, or something.
Oh yeah, we talked about that.
Well, technically, Muna was voted out.
True, that's true. If we want to get real technical,
technically.
My favorite still is I like what they do before jury. I like where, okay, we're voting someone out and you have to manage how you vote them out.
Exactly.
I'm gonna vote you out and hopefully you don't know I did. And then they pick who goes in the battle. I like that because you have to be strategic about your vote. And you also do get punished if you're not social. Like,
Right.
All right. So that's the episode. Lastly, what we're going to do is edit our tier list. We got literally 2 episodes left, which is crazy. Or 1, I think.
One episode.
Pretty wild.
There is one more.
So I mean, we only got 5 people to rank this time, and then we'll have like 2. But we have the jury down here. So real quick, Billy, are we keeping her in B, or are we dropping her up or down, or what? What are we doing? Keeping the same? I don't know.
I feel like maybe keep her there, but we'll maybe move people up potentially.
Okay.
I guess maybe.
Yeah,
Billy.
The best game, but she's in trouble. I think.
But she's in trouble.
Yeah.
In trouble.
So.
I think but is she? That's the thing. Like, see, I would have
she's
thought
in trouble. I think.
I think Billy's in trouble.
Oh, because Final 4, I forgot. Yeah.
I think they know she's likable, and like they might think Jacob has less of a chance over Billy, so they might want to get rid of the bigger threat, which is Billy. So I think she's in trouble.
It's hard to tell. That's the problem. Like, I don't know if they're gonna go after Jacob or Billy. I'm leaning to Jacob, but they could go for Billy. I
with Spencer and Natalie, right, being his friends. Yeah, I see.
Mhm.
I think though that like it's funny because I don't think people realize like you have to keep at this point keeping Billy and Jacob is smart for any of those five, like any of those people, because like what you guys were saying, like you have to have two. And Tori did the same thing with me last season. She was like, no, we need each other because if we get there, people are going to be like, I don't know which one, so hopefully we either only get one vote on each other or none on us, and then we're not going to take each other. At that point, I would be like, if people think like, oh, if you're going to drag me, okay, well, I'm not going to take that person and I'm going to take that person. So if you like point, like, I think they've done it in some of, like some of the minis they were saying, like, like, well, if you pick me, I'm picking you. Like, I'm dragging you. So, like, your decision type of thing. So this would be where all that talk, I think, would start happening just because, like, I mean, I don't know. Who would Natalie drag? If like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think she would drag Billy. I really do. I really think that Natalie drags her. But all right, I guess we can keep Billy here for now. And some people might move up. So Josh, honestly, I think should be moved up.
Yeah.
Now, are we moving Josh above Billy or are we moving Josh to
A? Okay, so my case for Josh moving up is that he made some good moves in this game, allegiances wise, because he got Natalie on his side, because he offered her protection. He got Spencer on his side, because I think he was like, hey, I'm bringing you in on what my plan is. Like, we need to stick together, blah, blah, blah. And I think he might still have Billy a little bit. So
I mean, they made the final two during date night, right?
Yeah. So I think he's in the best position actually right now, because I don't think I don't think any of these people would drag him.
I don't think
so.
so.
I don't think Josh. Is that what? Is
I
that
think
what
he's
doing?
A. I don't know.
Yeah. I was gonna say, but the only reason for me he's not is like the little cockiness in this episode, but outside of that, like,
I don't think anyone knows. I don't know if anyone knows. I'll go with high B. That's fine.
No, I'm fine with A. Sorry, that's the only knock against him is what I meant.
I'm the same way though. I feel that. I feel the same thing. I'm like, no. No,
like I don't want to reward him for this.
You can't reward that behavior, people. It's negative.
That's why we were mad at Spencer.
I know.
Spencer, so he's top C right now. So I think right now he's either the final 4 drag or he's the final 2 goat.
Exactly.
That being said, I would keep him where he's at, but position wise, he is in a very good longevity position.
Yeah.
You got Natalie, where honestly she has either everything to gain or everything to lose going into this next round. Literally, it can either go completely south or like great for her. So I don't know where I want to put her. Like I think she should still be C, and maybe she should stay where she's at. And that doesn't literally mean it's low because there's only 5 people, but it's just like I don't know where to put Natalie.
You know what? Someone pointed it out that who is it? That Josh and Natalie are close with Jacob. I could totally see at Final 5 Natalie getting Billy voted out. And that could be the move that puts Natalie above and beyond. And then maybe she can make it to Final 2. I see Natalie possibly winning the game. So I would move her above Spencer.
I would at least put her above Spencer as well.
Yeah, because she probably won't be dragged at this point.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we got Jacob. So Jacob has a very, like, if he gets to the end, obviously I think he can win. It's just like, how does he get there? Like, I really don't know how he gets there.
It's a tough road. He is a
tough road.
Yeah, I think especially Josh and Billy are very smart. Like, I mean, everyone is in the game, but I think those two especially are not going to be having it, and they are pretty vocal. And they like kind of like, especially Josh, Billy, and Spencer, right? Like, I think that trio. I don't know if they are going to let Jacob get as far. I think Spencer and Natalie are kind of the ones that might let Jacob. So it's 2 against 2, I think. So let's see.
All right. Are we keeping him there or are we putting him above Spencer? What are we doing with that?
I feel like the way that Jacob can get through is that, like, he's in the Final 4 with Billy. But I also, even if he's not with Billy, I don't see Spencer dragging Jacob.
No, he wouldn't.
I don't see that either. So like the only person that would really drag Jacob, I think, would be Billy.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty good, like in the odds of that, like I think everyone would drag Billy at this point, like or point Billy or something, But I don't think that they would automatically I don't think he has a lot of people like I don't know. I just for some reason I still think he has a lot of social capital, like even though he's but
yeah, because technically he has social capital with 2 people. It's 2 versus 2 and him. So the question is, does he become the swing vote where Spencer, right, like goes with them? Or is it that it's so interesting because it almost depends on what Spencer wants to do. And then that like will send Jacob up like well or badly.
Well, because like, is it they vote out the 5th person and then the 4th person is voted out and then they drag, right? So like they probably really need to get rid of Jacob here because of what you all just said, where it's if he is left, who's gonna drag him? Who's gonna like maybe Billy, but Billy would probably do Natalie. Yeah, so it's
I don't know. I don't think Billy drags him because I think Billy's out of the game. So she's like, well, if I'm not winning,
right. I'm gonna take like someone who I don't think has had to play as hard.
Yeah, that's what I think at least with Billy.
Yeah, so they probably really need to get Jacob out here because he's really close to a lot of people.
Okay.
I agree.
So Jacob above Spencer. All right. Yeah, so that is hold on. All right, so that is the tier list. Real quick, we got wait, no, we're supposed to be where's the equalizer? All right, so
whatever.
Lastly, we got a question from Henry. Do we know what the next episode twist is? Nope. Not at all. So yeah, we don't got that type of tea. Tell Audrey to give us that.
Very well just be a straightforward vote. I don't know. I mean,
I think they'll do what they did last time. I think they'll have a challenge from the sponsor, immunity.
Oh yeah, I like that.
Immunity again, Jesus Christ. Cheese and rice.
No more.
No more immunity, people. No more. I can't take anymore.
I know. I'm also surprised that there wasn't unless I'm really forgetting everything, like a button twist, right? Like the red button.
Oh yeah, they did. Time.
We didn't have that in ours. I don't remember.
Oh, you didn't? Just kidding.
Season 2.
No, we didn't. I'm trying to.
Yeah, I guess that was season 2.
I could have sworn.
The only thing that like was like the kind of like up in the air was when we had to run for the LOSs and just like pick a box and like.
I remember that.
Was like the only one that's so uncertain. Like, I remember being like,
"Hi, Josh,
legs." I was like, "How am I?" And then I got one, and I was like, "Oh."
Hope you're well, Josh. Enjoying watching you play. I see that you're in the comments.
You missed your ranking, but you're top. You made the top of the list this time. You're top B. So
he's real comfortable. He's real comfortable, even in our rankings. He's comfortable.
Bring that head a little bit.
Digging Dylan's background.
Thanks.
Wait, hold on. I'll give Dylan the spotlight.
Yeah, I don't know why. I don't know why that didn't even register in my head. That was him. I don't know.
He literally.
You gotta move the green screen.
Yeah, I think it needs to be adjusted slightly or something.
It doesn't let me put his face though. Like even if I move it.
Rude.
Oh no.
Rude.
Oh darn.
I know. Josh is comfortable in the episode and he's comfortable in our tier list. We love it.
I wasn't relaxing. I was just gassed as a heavy smoker.
Petition to get Josh a pair of Dylan shades.
Fun fact: I stole these from my work.
Oh my god!
I worked at a beach on the Hamptons, and we just had so much retail, and I was working retail, and they're like, "Oh, we have so much stuff. Can you sell it?" And I was like, "Okay," but I was like. Because I needed sunglasses, so I was like, why not?
Because Josh did a little video right for Jatia about like making fun of Jacob, so now he needs to do it for Dylan.
When he does after the episodes, like all the.
Mm-hmm.
Oh well, I would.
Wait. We better get into all that real quick. So we're gonna do our self plugs real quick. We're gonna do our self plugs quick because we got a question about it. So real quick, Erica, thank you so much. You're our second guest ever. CJ was last time. She spoke great things about you. She was like, "Oh yeah, Erica's great. You're gonna love her. We love you. Thank you for coming over here."
It was so nice meeting you.
It was nice meeting you.
You're
Loved
awesome.
watching you on season 3.
Oh, thank you so much. I'm so glad I was at least giving you guys some entertainment.
I was more annoyed at everybody. I was more annoyed at everybody for targeting you. It kind of got like
Seriously.
Yeah. Thank you. But I guess you'd rather be remembered than forgotten. So like you'd rather
You're gonna be forgotten when you're an all-star. So.
Wait, I'm doing
final too.
I'm doing a quick. I'm wearing Batme cosmetic eyelashes by Jayla Rocks. You know her. Go to her website. Her. She's also nominated for performance for her show Gayish too. So go on her profile, vote for her and her show for digital show. And she's the only Black woman in her category. So please go vote for her, everyone. Thank you very much.
Do it.
Yes.
So let's see what else. Sasha, what you getting into?
You know, I'm just here on Twitter now, but I might be, on random podcasts. Who knows? But you can follow me at funsize_04 to like know more and, my crazy reality takes.
And if you want to see Sasha and Chappelle completely rip apart Survivor, go check out RHAP. That was great.
Yes, it was really fun. Do it.
Chanel, how are you doing? What's going on, Chanel?
I'm good. I'm on Twitter also, but mostly heavy into streaming. You can catch me at the same tag as my Twitter one at CoderGirlChen. Do lots of variety streaming, Among Us, Dead by Daylight. I'm doing Fall Guys this week. It's going to be a disaster. But come in, it's real fun, real safe space for everyone. So come chill.
Geneva, what are you getting into?
Well, kind of like Sasha, just podcasting here and there, doing things like that. You can follow me at Peace Love Jen on Twitter. I'm always tweeting. You also got YouTube, Instagram, and you could catch up on Survivor Syracuse season 2, Snakes and Secrets. There's a 2-part finale starts this Thursday, and then next following Thursday. So, yeah.
All right, and Dylan, your All-Star game starts tomorrow. You want to talk about that?
Yes. So season 7 of my game, I Love Money, the All-Star season will be premiering tomorrow at 8:30. We will be having a live cast reveal. 22 of the best, craziest people, some of which you guys recognize will be there. And I'm giving Silent Sequester a little inside exclusive on 2 people.
Ooh.
We have Chanel will be returning. The winner of season 6, she will be back, and Isaiah, who was 3rd place on the 3rd season, he will be back. If you want to watch those 2 and support them in the season, check it out at Dylan Does. I just made a Discord and I just made a Twitter for the first time. I didn't know how to do it. It's at the DH1 Network, so it's like VH1 but with a D. So all of my stuff is so. Keep up with it.
And Joseph asks, where can you watch this?
You can watch it on my YouTube channel at Dylan Does. So I'll have it live streaming on there.
And lastly, for me, so I'm going to be doing that tomorrow.
Me too, I guess.
I'm supposed to be going to work, but I'm calling out. And then, you guys can catch me on RHAP tomorrow. I'm talking with Taryn about literally everything we did here. So if you want to hear like a revolving door, I'll be over there. But yeah, I mean, that's it. Like I said, Erica, thank you again for coming over. You're a blast to have over here.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
We are working on like one last guest for the finale. We're going to try to get Tori over here if we can make the schedules work. So if we can get that, you'll see Tori over here, guys. But until then, everyone have a good night, and we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.